Hello, 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 and welcome to the All About You show with OMG and Friends, where we talk about the things that you think about and some things you don't. I am your host, OMG, along with my co host,
Daydream.
Your wellness warrior, Susan Neff.
and as always, family, we'd like to thank you for joining us today, and we ask that you please join in on the conversation, where your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions help drive the conversation. Today, the first segment of our show is going to be Free to Be. I'm going to introduce you to a woman by the name of Anne Murray. And the world may have never known about Frederick Douglass had it not been for Anne Murray. Now, Anne Murray was a housekeeper in Baltimore, and she was free. She was one of 18,000 women, 18,000 residents in Baltimore that was free at the time. And she met a young gentleman by the name of Frederick Bailey. Well, she kind of took a liking to him, and they decided to concoct a plan to actually get him a ticket to New York and on the ferry and out of Baltimore area. So at any rate, now Anne Murray was, she had her own business. Well, yes, she had her own business. She was a housekeeper, but more importantly, she had her own possessions. She had her own money, and she took a liking to him. So what she decided to do was sell her feather bed in order to get monies so that Frederick Bailey could get a ferry and a train to New York. Now, after that happened, he was successful in his journey, so he did get free. She ended up moving and joining him in New York, where she married him, had children. Now, Frederick Bailey actually at the time was an abolitionist, as was Anne Murray. So when they got married in New York, she had children. She also remained doing abolition work with him in the background as she raised the family. And so from that point on, she decided that, they would go ahead and move to Massachusetts, actually. And that was where they took on the name Douglas. So again, this woman actually literally freed this man. And see, he was one of 3,000 enslaved people in Baltimore. So she was free. So she freed him in 1838. So, again, but the question becomes, as big as this man has become throughout Black history, why is it no one knows about the woman that's behind him that was actually the catalyst that catapulted him to be free and to be the best that he could be, which is what we do. Okay,
Typical. She sold her bed.
she
to provide for him. That's
yes.
what women do. We sacrifice. We willingly
give. Why you guys just take? We love you guys, but still, we have to put that out there.
Y'all are so stupid.
But I'm just curious as to why in all of his books that he had written, he never really mentioned or talked about her, and they were married for 44 years.
And I think even in today's world, if two sides, if men would recognize our desire to empower them, they would seek out different sorts of women, and then they would definitely
instead of being intimidated.
Right. And then if women would recognize the strength and the power that they have to empower, they too would seek out different types of people, and they would behave differently in their relationships.
I think you're right.
Because they don't. Neither side sees how that's supposed to work together. There's a synergy there. There's a reason
But
for it.
how do you leave out your better half? There's always a woman behind the man, and I have always maintained this, and I still say it today, that a man is only as good as a woman makes him. So if you've got a strong ride or die with you like Anna Murray was, and so many of us out here now are, then you need to be loyal to that. But I do give him credit for having remained married to her for 44 years. And I think I mentioned to you guys off air, I did meet a young man yesterday who had visited the Frederick Douglass estate in D.C. and showed pictures of the tour of the home and all this other stuff. And beautiful home. Obviously, he became quite wealthy because not only with being an abolitionist, he also was one of the intellectual minds of the time.
Sure.
And he traveled quite a lot with doing abolitionist work, and so he was gone quite a lot. But at any rate, they became that synergy and that unit in order to get this done. But then in his books, and after she passed away, and in the home that I saw yesterday on the tour, they closed off that door. I think the tour guide told the gentleman there that back then when they passed people, your wife or something passed, you just close that door off. You don't move anything. You let everything stay the same. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I recall that they would throw sheets over the mirror, and you don't disturb. Let them rest in peace. So you don't disturb anything. I don't actually recall if my family was like that. or even if they do that in Mexico. But
Yeah, I'm just curious what, what I don't know what would cause us now to just hurriedly get people's stuff out of the house as soon as they pass away. If that were the case.
because we feel like out of sight, out of mind, the pain
that's-
will hurt less. It'll go away. I'll heal faster, and actually, you don't.
No,
Yeah.
I was going to say I don't think so either.
You
And
know?
sometimes people they're like, okay, when I know for some of our family members, when everyone comes to the funeral and everyone is volunteering to help, that's the reason that they decided to do it. While I've got the help here. Now, there were some areas where they refused to move forward. They're like, nope. we're not gonna
Yeah,
move
the
forward.
door's closed.
But others of it, as much as they could tolerate emotionally, they were ready to do it. They were ready to do it. But and two, to me, here's what I thought too when I read that information about Frederick Douglass. In that time, it didn't matter your race as a man. They rarely held their women up as this is my right hand. So I think he fell into the same trap as every other race of man did back then.
Yeah, but look at what they've gone through. I mean, so for a woman, now bear in mind, Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth were also women who freed quite a few men, if you will, in their journey with the Underground Railroad. But bottom line is, you can't put us in with everybody. We're totally different. We're uniquely different. Our stories are uniquely different. Nobody can match all that we've gone through. Somebody sent me a text yesterday where it showed 9/11, and basically it shows how we can't ever forget that. They won't let us forget it. We have to always be reminded of it. But then in that same caption, there was a picture of slaves being lynched from a tree. Man with black, with webs across his back being beat down. Just slavery. And yet when we talk about it, we need to get over it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
We're
like,
being too
here we go.
sensitive.
Yes,
If I hear that one more time.
I'm so sick of that. But that's basically how they look at it. So, again, why is it not important?
Right. It's just like with the Holocaust. And
Oh,
a lot of
Yes.
Jews have spoken out about that also. Like, it's the same concept. You have to continue to talk about it so we don't forget to not ever go back to that, or so we don't forget, hey, this is what led up to all of that.
Yeah.
And they spoke out. They've spoken out against what's going on with the immigration policy now. They said, well, we were ripped apart from our families as children and separated.
I think it's happened to everybody except
Right.
white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. It's happened to everybody. Everybody's been oppressed. Everybody, but I don't understand. Is there something, the Stockholm syndrome that we have? Because for Frederick Douglass to have later on married a white woman after his wife passed, he did wait until she passed. He gave her the respect of 44 years of marriage, door being shut and doing all those things. But it showed beautiful home that they had. But more importantly, I was just surprised that during those times, after having lived through and seeing all that black people as a whole have gone through, that even back then you go marry one. But he was wealthy, so that explains part of it.
Some of the
we've got
circle
some money.
he was probably certain.
Well, he was very intellectual. He he advised presidents, and he did also lectures on topics such as civil rights. Not civil rights, but the Civil War. He had a lot to do with women's voting rights. So he was actively engaged in governmental work. So he was obviously lived well.
Well, and you hear about that when you listen to people who are wealthy and they talk about their spouses and people and how they meet them. A lot of times they'll say that's why they married who they married, was because those were the people in the social circle that they circulated.
Come on now.
in.
You got Negroes in the circle. You know that. You want to take us to break?
Back
real
then.
quick? Hell, he met Anna Murray. She was free. She sold her bed for this brother. Okay? Take us to break.
We will be right back. Thank you for joining us. Remember that you all moved the conversation forward, so please give us a call and let us know what you're thinking of.
Give the number.
713-789-0096. We'll be right back.
Thanks, David.
You're listening to the Bridge of Light Radio Network, where conversations lead to real change.
You see him talking about this? Oh, shit.
That's wrong.
You see?
Well, I did I tell you all my stuff.
I'm inviting Wiseman.
I know you said that was even better.
Yeah.
I don't know what time she's calling, but I need to talk probably a few minutes about this until she.
Oh, when we come back, I need to do a live read of the Sam Houston.
Okay.
All right.
Let me know
I
what
have
you
it
want
pulled
to
up.
do.
Okay, whatever.
Forgot.
I don't know. Yeah. You want to do it after she does it?
I can.
I didn't turn it on.
No,
I
no,
did.
you-
Oh.
We're gonna do 2 live reads actually. I'm gonna go first and then she'll right after I'm done.
Is it all in front of my eyeball? Thank you.
30 seconds.
Yes, they see me beat up on them.
15 seconds.
And see what it is.
Live racing is back at Sam Houston Race Park in 2019. Our 25th anniversary thoroughbred meet continues with 50-cent beer this Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. Texas Stallions Day is this Saturday. Post time on Friday and Saturday is 7 p.m. Get a luxury suite for 10 people starting at just $2.99. Get online to purchase our $25 Papa John's pizza deal, which includes 2 general admission tickets, 2 personal pizzas, and 2 small soft drinks. Live racing is back and better than ever at Sam Houston Race Park.
And need help setting up your pharmacy? Let Steve Stiles take care of it for you. As a pharmacist and pharmacy consultant for over 30 years, Stephen E. Whitfield provides expert advice on pharmaceutical practices and services. His extensive years of experience and knowledge give him the ability to accurately diagnose and fix any issue negatively impacting the performance and profitability of your pharmacy business. Let Steve Stile, pharmacy consultant, help increase your business. Contact him at 713-855-0800. You can also email him at swkappa1@gmail.com to set up your appointment.
I guess you can tell he's a Kappa. He got it in there.
Exactly.
Right.
Welcome back. You're listening to All About You with OMG and Friends, where we talk about the things that you think about. I am your host, OMG, along with my co-host.
Daydream.
Your wellness warrior, Susanette.
And we are talking about, or finishing up rather, our first segment, which was Free to Be. And we will be having a caller in, as you know, for our second segment. But for now, what takeaway can we, I mean, I'm just still flabbergasted that he would, like I said, I give him respect for having wait until she passed and then went on with his life. So these young guys, these young brothers out here, what advice can we give them? Because if you get a ride or die, you need to stick with that.
I think it's the ability to recognize that, though.
Yes.
It's not even just the ability to recognize it, but to not forget.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, don't forget where you came from, and you know, to keep in mind, every woman is not a ride or die. You know, so
absolutely.
You know, and I think
that's
when you have someone for so long who is like that, you forget, hey, when I go outside here, I'm not going to get that same thing. You know, it's starting all over again. You know,
absolutely. And then to me, they're questioning, is this person trying to be with me because of what I've accomplished?
right?
Because that's the difference to me between a ride or die and someone who's in it with you from just because of what you have now. I mean, in my opinion, I would want to be with the person who stuck it out with me when things weren't good.
Absolutely.
When they know what the struggle is, when they know who I am,
And
deep
how you
down in the
what
recesses.
you've
Yeah,
done
when
to
I
get
had
here.
right, because that was
Exactly.
me you were with.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And how you can just forget that person and not even know. Like I said, he's written several. He has written several books, and he's not really mentioned her. And so now I think we're going to get ready to be introduced to our
Yay.
second topic. And the second topic is going to be, well, everybody's probably pretty much familiar with the BSmith situation. So our segment is called Let's Be Real. And I think I mentioned to you that we have a personal friend of BSmith that's calling in. She's on the line now. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Chef Shelley. Now, she's the gourmet angel chef, Chef Shelley Everett, and she learned the mysteries and traditions of Southern cooking from her grandmothers, who were pioneer female chefs in Virginia. She spent over 25 years in New York City's explosive dining scene, operating some of its most celebrated establishments as both chef and executive. Now, her teachings and work ethics melted with the demands of Manhattan's fast-paced restaurant world to create magical experiences nightly. Chef Shelley's skill set extends deep into catering and even production, engineering soirees of all sizes for corporate and celebrity clients, including Oprah Winfrey, Sony Music, the Brooklyn Nets, as well as Luther Vandross. She fell in love with New Orleans when a 2003 holiday event brought her here to the Crescent City, where she met so many kindred spirits and culinary spirits. Now, in conjunction with the Gourmet's Angel events and catering services, Chef Shelley created the Chubby Biscuit. These artesian biscuits are made fresh daily, chock full of amazing local ingredients. The Chubby Biscuit offers extraordinary savory as well as sweet varietals. Hello, Chef Shelley.
How are you?
Oh, fine. How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so thank you for calling through. Listen, I need you to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit more than what I just read, and then take us into the introduction as to how you and BSmith know each other. Chef Shelley,
I'm here.
can you hear me?
Barely, but I can hear you now.
Okay, could you at least answer, tell us a little bit about yourself other than what I've just said briefly. Give us an overview of you and your relationship in the Manhattan nightlife and having met and been friends for over 25 years with BSmith.
I think what's going on is we're in the middle of a snowstorm here, and it's kind of making the connection a little bit difficult.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say at that point. So you can't
And
hear
I'm
us?
in Washington, D.C. right now.
Oh, you're in D.C. Okay. All right. So basically, can you tell us how you met B, or can you hear that just to be able to give us an overview of your relationship with Barbara Smith?
I'm picking up only every other word you're saying, Marion.
Oh gosh. I don't know what we can do about that. Hold on one second. Is there anything we can do, guys? Excuse me.
And it has to be on her end.
Yeah. Not really. Chef Shelley?
Yes, can you
Okay.
hear me?
I can hear you well. Yeah. I'm just trying to.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I can hear you, because there's nothing going on in my background, but I think we are getting a little bit of friction on the line because of the storm.
Oh, okay. Well, from there, okay. Well, I know that you know personally. We'll just jump right into the chase of it. That you know, Barbara Smith. You've known her for quite some time. I think you knew her before she married Dirty Dan, right?
Well, again, we're kind of going in and out, but I heard kind of give the audience a little bit of background on me. And so since I can't really hear you clearly, I'll give you a little bit of background on me and Barbara, if that's all right with you.
Yes, absolutely. Look, you just go for what you know. I know you have conversation till we get down because I know it's long and you know it all. So just give us what you can give us about this current situation with this gentleman. I won't even give him that title. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, well, what I can tell you is I met Barbara Smith somewhat at the point where her and Dan Gatsby were getting married. She was coming off of a marriage from HBO executive Don Anderson, which had ended very badly. And the courtship with Dan Gatsby was very short and very quick. He wanted to get her down the aisle before she woke up and realized that she probably shouldn't be making those types of decisions.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that swept off your feet type thing. Yeah.
From the onset, it looked like Dan had her best interest at heart and that he genuinely cared for her. And I know she definitely deeply cared for him and his daughter, Dana. But anyway, to make a long story short, to get to the meat and potatoes of the situation, what's going on right now didn't just start right now.
Okay.
I
Tell us.
mean, he has somewhat of a history of doing things to Barbara, even long before the Alzheimer's, that were not really, things that you would expect that someone that genuinely loves someone else would do. And I'll give you a classic example of one of the things that he did during my time as an executive management person in BSmith Rooftop Cafe, which coincidentally was not owned directly by Barbara Smith, but was owned by Arc Restaurant Corporation. So there were two outside partners which were Michael Weinstein, who was the CEO and president of Arc Restaurant Corporation, and Vinny Pascal, who was the CFO and vice president of Arc Restaurant Corporation. So with that being said, Barbara was probably at one of the busiest points in her life. She was writing her first cookbook. She was doing the pitches for the show BSmith with Style and trying to pull that together. She was still doing some modeling engagements. I mean, this woman was extremely busy, but she always made sure that she was back in that restaurant between 6 o'clock p.m. and 8 o'clock Monday through Friday to greet that pre-theater crowd that would be looking to engage and meet with her. So anyway, fast forward to one weekend when Barbara had decided that she needed to get away, and she went to a spa in Connecticut. At this time, I was actually pregnant with my youngest son and about to go on maternity leave. So all of the other senior managers in the restaurant were on rotations of trying to go on vacation before I had to leave for 10 weeks for my maternity leave. So I was pretty exhausted, and I left the restaurant that night shortly after pre-theater began and left a young assistant manager in charge of the restaurant, David Tacoon, who had been a long-term Arc employee, and he'd been in that restaurant for a significant period of time. At that time, and could more than handle being left alone with the pre-theater and the rest of the evening. I lived in Lower Manhattan. BSmith was on 47th Street and 8th Avenue. I literally walked out the door, got in a cab. I was walking in my door, and I lived on Broadway and Maiden Lane at the time in downtown Manhattan, which was close to the Trade Center, not so far away. It didn't take that long to commute from point A to point B by cab. In that short distance of time, Dan had created a conflict in the restaurant that I just couldn't believe when I answered my phone. Young manager on the other end, David, was hysterical. And I said, David, what's going on in there? And he said, immediately after you left, Dan was sitting at the bar, because I saw him when I was leaving. I said goodbye. He was sitting at the bar with his usual posse of friends, hanging out. Well, David informed me that shortly after I walked out the door, this man went on a frenzy, went behind the bar, started grabbing glassware, started throwing glassware all over the bar. Mind you, this is a full restaurant which has 200 seats in the main dining room. So if you start throwing glass in the bar area towards the main dining room, you could potentially hurt a lot of people.
Right. Absolutely.
So David really didn't quite know what to do. And while we're on the phone, he says, wait a minute, I don't believe this. At this point, Dan Gatsby is in the dining room, pulling down his soup stand and mooning people.
What?
Wow.
Wow.
And mooning people. That, to me, is someone that, from the beginning, does not have someone's best interest at heart.
That's something to
So
hurt
I
her.
said to the young manager on the phone, I said, hang on. I said, try to get some control over the situation if you have to. Call the police. I'm on my way back. I then left my home with my son's father in tow with me, got in another cab, went back there, and was greeted by a very sparse restaurant of just a few people hanging out. Just kind of wanted, I guess, to see how this was all going to turn out. Anyway, by the time I got back to the restaurant, Miss Gatsby was gone, but I was confronted with over $3,500 worth of people that walked out and did not pay their check.
Wow. Why would he do that? This is your
I don't
partner.
know what makes someone do something so outrageous, and especially in their wife's venue, and they know that she has partners. Because if you do something like that, you're potentially putting her lifeline on the line.
Exactly.
Well, maybe try to destroy her brand because
And so,
she's
to
building a brand.
me, that was an early sign that Dan could be potentially dangerous to Barbara. And that situation did not play out well because I had to then explain to my bosses that signed my paycheck why we had comps over $3,000 on a night when we should have been making a lot of money. And the end result of that was that Mr. Gatsby was then informed that he could no longer come into the restaurant. It was embarrassing for Barbara when she came back and had to hear about this. It was embarrassing to the young manager that had to deal with it. and it was embarrassing to me.
Right.
I can imagine.
So, and it didn't really stop there because shortly after he was barred from the restaurant for a period of time, I was leaving the restaurant one night, and I was leaving out of the side entrance. And so I'm coming out, and he's standing outside the door. He looks at me and he says, "Michelle, let me in. I'm not going to go in the restaurant. I'm just going to go downstairs to Barbara's office. She's in her office. She's expecting me." I said, "Well, in that case, you should call her in the office and have her come up here and let you into the restaurant, because I can't do that because she doesn't sign my paycheck, and neither do you." So I kind of quickly shut the door. As I was walking towards the corner of 47th and 8th Avenue, this grown man called me a booger eater.
Can you believe that?
A booger eater.
We're on the playground?
A booger eater.
That's what I said. Are we
What
on
are
a
we,
playground?
Not even 12. That's elementary.
That's awful.
Wow.
And so, I said, who does that? Because, Barbara is 15 years my senior, Dan at least 10 years my senior, and you're going to call me a booger eater.
Who
I'm
thinks
a senior
of such a thing?
manager in that restaurant, and you're going to call me a booger eater because I won't put my job on the line and let you into a venue after the man that signs my paycheck says you can't come through the door.
Mm-hmm.
So his behavior with this Alex person does not surprise me. But the one thing that I will tell you is the Barbara Smith that I know would not be having any of this, not any kind of way, not on any level, not on this earth, and not on any other planet either.
And there you go. Y'all heard it. She would not have approved of this.
This would not be okay with her. It would absolutely not be okay with her.
Well, you notice how he did it. I remember a month or two ago reading that he just kind of brought it out and had sort of an attitude like, you can't ask me any questions about it. I'm moving her in. And I'm just surprised, well, really not totally surprised that America, or the national news pretty much, finds issue with that. But see, they're going around the country, talking about it and promoting it, and steady exploiting Barbara Smith.
I think people are doing
I
what
think
they're
the weather
accustomed
is really running interference with us because I missed the last thing that you said. Could you please repeat it?
I forgot what I said at that
About exploiting.
I was just saying I don't like the fact that he is exploiting Barbara, putting her on social media with people seeing her in a way that she would not like to be seen.
to. Absolutely.
This woman was a model, she was a TV host, she was a magazine publisher, she was a celebrity chef, entrepreneur, restaurateur, national lifestyle maven. You don't let people see her any kind of way.
Exactly.
So obviously the fact that he's doing this means he really didn't care about her, is what I think. Can you hear me, Chef?
Apparently, but I heard bits and pieces of what you said.
Well, we're just talking about how Dan clearly
was portraying and playing this out in social media and on television. First of all, Dan Gatsby, when he did have his own ability to support himself without having to rely on Barbara, was a marketing and sales executive for King World Communications until Roger King fired him. And after that, subsequently, that's how he ended up becoming partners with his wife.
Okay.
And this is, of course, it was kind of a setup from the very beginning. Dan resented the partnership that Barbara had with Michael and Vinny in Art Restaurant Corporation. So eventually he burned that bridge for her. They separated. He was already gone from King World. He wasn't producing the Essence Awards anymore. So then Barbara, made room in her situation for him. So he has essentially lived off of her. This is probably the first time in so many years that he's probably thinking to himself, I'm finally doing something, and it's not about Barbara. But guess what? It is about Barbara.
It is.
It is.
Off of her dime.
It wasn't Barbara.
Yeah, it was on her dime, he's still living off of her.
Well, you know what? Like I said, she wouldn't approve of the relationship that he is having with Alex Lerner, and it doesn't make. You know what? Is she catching some extra flack because she's a white woman? Yes, she is. But even if she was the blackest woman on the face of the
We would
planet,
still be
people would
working.
still not be
Yeah,
happy
absolutely.
about this.
That's right. That's exactly
Because
right.
at the end of the day, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
There's no way around it. It's wrong.
Right, and
I
if
mean, you're
it,
talking about a woman that in our world is, and I never ever do this because I believe Martha Stewart is Martha Stewart. Barbara Smith is Barbara Smith, but Barbara Smith is our style maven.
That's what I
Right.
said. Lifestyle
Our home guru.
That's
She
right.
represents our people.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that, in fact, I can say that I know this. She would not treat Dan Gatsby the way that he's treating her. She would not bring another man into their home. She would not embarrass him in the public. She would have not alienated him from his friends. She would have never done anything to impose disrespect on any level. And as far as Dana Boo is concerned, I've known Dana since she was a child. Barbara treated her certainly as if she were her own daughter. She was not treated as a stepchild. And this thing where she doesn't have the balls to look at Dan, Dirty Dan, and say, Dad, you know what, I get it. I feel your pain, but what you're doing to my stepmother isn't right. They were just as guilty as he is because
I think so.
my calculation, she's probably about 31, 32 years old now.
Oh, come
She's
on.
old
wow.
enough to know better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people that were Barbara's friends, when I think about the people that used to hang out at that bar, that used to fawn all over this woman when she walked through the room, that used to call themselves her friend, you know what? They need to stand up and they need to say that this would not be okay.
Right.
I became Barbara's friend over the period of time I worked there. We often dined together. Our children played together. And I can tell you unequivocally, hands down, this would not be okay.
I can imagine most women probably saying, should I pass away, I want you to find love again.
Right.
I want you to be happy.
Absolutely.
After I am damn gone. That's wild. I mean, even though I have my memory, that doesn't mean you bring another woman into
Absolutely.
my house.
Right, don't disrespect me that way. And we talked about this off air. It was, the fact that it's a white woman
Oh, yeah.
is the reason why we're more reserved with our reaction.
Right.
Because let it be another Latina that's in the house. Oh, I'm coming at you real
Black
quick.
another
yeah.
sister.
Okay?
Yeah,
Hey, absolutely.
We're coming for you.
We
To
wouldn't,
know.
we wouldn't hold back with that.
No,
but because
exactly.
she is white, we
We're
have
trying
to
we
watch
have to.
ourselves
Right.
because then we're that angry minority woman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The hot Latina,
yeah.
Latina hothead,
And
angry black woman.
Yeah, it's all about that. But again, I'm glad to hear you say that she would not know about this, but would
But
not
you know what,
approve
ladies?
of
It's
this.
a wake-up call for us. It's a wake-up call for us that when we accumulate wealth on our own and we marry someone that does not come to the table bringing everything that we're bringing to the
Unequally
table,
yoked.
that we have to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
Barbara was shown signs of Dan's seediness early in the game. Early in the game. And at that point, you have to make decisions. You have to make decisions of this Alzheimer's thing with her was something that was genetic. It was something that ran in her family. It was something that she was aware of. And if somebody's a snake, okay, are you going to really lay down at night with a dog and think you're going to wake up with the Lion King?
Right.
Wow.
Is that really going to happen? And so she laid down with a man that clearly had demonstrated over a period of time that he doesn't always have her best interest at heart.
That's called
And
sleeping with the
I'm not saying
enemy.
that I don't
Exactly.
believe that he absolutely has no love for this woman, because if I said that, I'd be lying. But I do think that there's a thin line between love and hate. I do think that there's a thin line between a man that marries a powerhouse and then he loses his little bit of power. And then, all Dan Gatsby is known for these days is being Barbara Smith's husband.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's his claim to fame.
Absolutely.
But now,
He's her husband.
the two of them are going around the country doing talk shows. And I think they've been on The View. They've been on NBC with Al Roker. They've been on Dr. Oz and all these other shows. They're promoting what I think was the whole impetus behind all of this being brought to the forefront, and that is to get a reality show.
This reality show. Well, you know what? Like I said earlier, with this reality show, he's probably sitting back and applauding himself and saying to himself, you know what? I'm going to finally make some money that's my money, and it doesn't have anything to do with Barbara, but it has everything to do with Barbara.
Absolutely.
And one thing I also know is Barbara would never exploit him. She would never exploit such a humiliating situation.
That's
and
right.
embarrass him to the extent that he is
That
doing
he's
to
embarrassing
her.
her.
But you know what? The other quality that he's always had during the time period that I recall being around him is he's an attention-seeking person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he displays on social media. Everything is about him. Everything is about what he wants. Everything is about what he thinks he's doing for her. The caretaking and sacrifices. Well, you know what? That's what marriage is.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what it
Absolutely.
is. And
That's
also,
what you, and Gatsby, that's what you signed to a guy that was going to, you know, for as much as she was successful, Barbara would be actually even more successful if she had never married him.
Wow.
yeah, because he
I mean, you know,
what he did
he
with
published a magazine which Mr. Chenault, the former chairman of the board of American Express, got behind and backed it. And I am told, because at this point I was not working underneath the ARC umbrella, but I was told by a credible source that the reason why it only published 2 issues is because, you know, Dan the Man did something, and Mr. Chenault said, I don't think so.
So he did.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's sabotage.
So,
It is.
you know, the things that have gone array since this marriage took place, and now this little circus that he's created, I clearly know that the Barbara that I know and love, who, by the way, is still somewhere in there because when she has moments of being lucid, it's already been reported that she's looking at him and asking him why she flirted with this woman.
What?
Oh, my
So,
God.
You want to tell
you
us?
know,
You want to
they're
tell us?
coming to blows over his flirtation, which all I know is that most people that have Alzheimer's, so I'm told, always have moments where they're lucid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
That's what I said that earlier. You don't know what she knows.
Mhm.
She's watching her husband have this interaction. She don't know who this woman is.
And then you know you want to tell him about the time. I think it was the Alex had smacked B's hand
I'm sorry, say that again, Mary.
when Alex smacked B's hand.
Yes, the slapping of the hand. I heard about the slapping of the hand. And
How dare you?
my feelings on that is, irregardless to how childlike this Smith may seem right now, she's a 69-year-old, very grown woman.
Mhm.
No one should be slapping her hands. No one should be putting their hands on her except to assist her with something that she may need. I think it's totally inappropriate. I mean, look at it like this. First of all, where does this hag come from? You know, the tabloids and the way she's portrayed in the media is she was married to this guy named Billy Lerner who owned the parking lots, and he was a multi-millionaire, and she was kind of a troll of an employer with their maids and their nannies, and so she has no credentials to be caring for anybody. And I understand that she didn't want to care for her own children, so how is she caring for Dan's ailing wife?
And furthermore, why would he need her to come in and help with B? With as much money as B had,
You can hire
surely
someone.
someone should come in and be
You
able to
know
take
what?
care of her.
If Dan doesn't want, my opinion is, if Dan doesn't want, and he made it real clear on Facebook that how tired he is and how inconvenient it is, and he deserves a life, well, you know what?
Oh, my Lord.
You can have your life. It's real simple. Divorce Barbara.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Very
Divorce
simple.
Barbara, walk away from her and her money, let the court appoint somebody to deal with that situation, and you and Alex go and live your lives. And get your reality show and do all the things you want to do, but leave her alone.
Absolutely.
Leave her out of it.
Yeah, this is painful. I hate what she might remember.
Exactly.
Again, you don't know what she
I
knows.
think it's very sad, and I really do think that it's even sadder that the people that used to be such a part of her world and such a part of that scene on 47th Street and 8th Avenue when things were really good, I would love to know where those people are now, because those people know, some of those people know more than what I know.
Right. Well, you always know who
Some
you're.
of those people know way more than what I know.
Right.
How
You
much
always
going
know.
home would be.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
some of these people were going out to the Hamptons and doing this and doing that. And you know what? I want to know where they are now.
Right. You always know who your friends are when the times are
Well,
rough.
maybe Dan.
But we'll be.
isolated her.
We have to go to a short break, and we will be right back.
Stay on the line,
All
Sharon.
right. Okay. I'll be here.
You heard her say, "I'm in no
You're listening
circumstances
to the Bridge of
would
Light
she
Radio
ever
Network.
agree."
Where
Like I said, I'm
conversations
afraid
lead
of
to
what she
real
knows.
change.
It's sad.
And what's not thinking of is there there's going to be a moment in time, because this one is totally shot from his. There is going to be a moment in time that be his dog, and everything, regardless of whether it's inside, she said they could poison him in his sleep. If she even doesn't crazy and wait until he's
I
asleep.
know. I mean, they call him Dusty Dan, Dirty Dan. And when Al Roker was interviewing him, you could tell he had total disdain for him because they were good friends.
Oh, were they?
Yes. Yeah, we did when the interview that went down with him and Al Roker. He kept saying, I've known you and Barbara like 25, 30 years, whatever. And so you could tell from his eyes that this guy was wrong. He felt in his heart of hearts that Dan was wrong. You don't do your wife like that. Let me tell you.
20 seconds.
They didn't even send us anything when Dan Martha Stewart was in jail still running her business. We didn't even get to see that. But yet you put our Martha Stewart, if you will, lifestyle maven on public view.
In the worst sort of circumstances.
Yeah. You find out what we mean?
10 seconds.
And you're tuned in to The Bridge. Stay tuned.
Live racing is back at Sam Houston Race Park in 2019. Our 25th anniversary thoroughbred meet continues with 50 Cent Beer this Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. and Texas Stallion Day is this Saturday. Post times are on both days are 7 p.m. For more information, go to shrp.com.
We are on the line with Chef Michelle Everett, and she's a personal friend of Barbara Smith. I'm sure everybody out there has pretty much heard about the brouhaha that's going around now, and how no one is really supporting the opinion that Dusty Dan has put out there and wanting everybody to accept his girlfriend. At any rate, Chef, are you still there? Chef Shelley?
I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, take us on and continue. We've got a few more minutes. Give us some more information that you know. But I think one of the main things you pointed out today is that she would not have wanted this. And I don't know, where are the friends? I mean, has Dan run them off? Because usually when people abuse you, they isolate you. So did he isolate her, you think? Chet?
The isolation started early because Dan was constantly causing conflict with one person or another. And, that's what people do. People are not going to fight with you to continue to be in friendship with you when your spouse creates conflict. Unfortunately, people walk away from you.
Oh,
But,
yes.
he ran his own level of interference, especially once they were in partnership, and blocking people from being able to get to Barbara, blocking people from being able to get messages to Barbara. So, you know what? He set up the perfect situation for exactly what's going on
Perfect
in
storm.
her life today. Now, nobody could have foreseen that it would have gone this far, but it takes a pretty selfish individual to actually go into full-blown me-ism when something this serious is going on. He's talking about this Alex Lerner person is the love of his life. He's got to be kidding me. He's been married to Barbara Smith for 26 years.
Right.
Wow.
So, like I said, if this is the love of his life, then he needs to move on and go ahead and be in love with the love of his life. The problem with the two of them is collectively they don't have anything.
That's why he loves her so
Alex
much. It's a
Lerner
weaker
doesn't have
woman.
anything anymore.
Exactly.
She's not a threat.
He doesn't have anything without Barbara Smith, so they can't move on. They have to stay, and they have to be the parasites that they both are. Remember, they're attracted to each other for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't look like
I mean,
she's comfortable
this Alex Lerner person seems to have, made her way in the world by moving around from one guy to another guy to another guy without really having to establish herself in anything.
Well, she's a
And
white
Dan
woman.
is just another one.
She has privileges.
And I'm wondering
So
too
when
where his people are, his friends.
when she's done with Dan, she'll find another parasite. Or when Dan's done with her, whichever happens first.
Well, I think if they engage in this reality show, they're going to be hooked, connected by the navel because they'll be making money. But I'm hoping that the public does not, sign on for
Right.
this.
Right.
Because none of us would want to. It's like when they had Whitney Houston when doing her drug days doing a reality show. Nobody wanted to see her like that.
That was just
Let us
sad.
keep our icons. Let us keep our celebrity
Mhm.
people, the way we want to remember
Right.
them, not the way you want to exploit them.
And the thing is, too, how is that helpful to anyone?
It doesn't help anybody, but it serves them. And
Mhm.
so, I don't know how that's going to pan out. But she doesn't come across as a classy, well-bred woman,
She's
having
just
been
plain
married
white
to a
trash.
millionaire. She's
Call her
like
what
white
she is.
trash.
She's
That's
white
exactly
trash.
what she looks like.
Chef Shelley, quick question.
Well, mind you, look at it like this: with this reality show, this reality show might help bring this thing to a head.
Mm-hmm.
It could very well, it could very well do the opposite of what Dan Gaffney and Alex Lerner think it's going to do. It could actually impose them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't wish ill will on anybody. I think while Wellness Warrior had a question.
Chef Shelley, thank you so much. Quick question. I know that you were.
I really wish our connection was better.
I do
know
too.
I'm
I'm
missing
so sorry.
a lot of the words, and I know that the words are important.
Yes, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is in terms of Dan's friends, have any of his friends verbalized their disdain for his behavior?
I think only one of her friends has actually publicly said anything, and that was a gentleman about a week ago, Paul Wharton, I believe is his name. I don't know him. But then again, he has many friends, I'm sure, that I don't know. I know, how you have these little cliques of friends. I know the cliques of friends were around her during the time that she was on 47th Street and 8th Avenue, because they were in there at that bar on a constant. They were in there almost every other day. There was nothing to come upstairs and see Flo Anthony, with gossip, sitting there with the PR magnet, Irene Dandy, and then Barbara's dear friend Steve Bagby, who had been a professional model with Barbara over the years. Now, her and Steve were very, very tight. I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is in the world. I don't know why he hasn't stepped forward to say anything. I don't even understand my former colleagues, why they have not stepped forward to say anything. Because I know where some of them are.
All right.
Wow. Well,
But somebody needs, unfortunately, she's a woman that doesn't have a family. And we don't think about how important it is to have somebody else in this
Stand up
world
for you.
that
Yes.
if your life goes, awry, can step up. And even if they can't necessarily legally take over, but at least know you well enough to be able to say, this is wrong and she would not be having it.
Right. Some advocate for you.
Wow. Well, it's sad, that Alzheimer's is a really bad degenerative disease.
Absolutely.
And I guess she's in final stages at this point, Chef. Michelle, can you hear me? Chef Shelley, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. No, Barbara Smith does not deserve this. Barbara Smith is one of the nicest women that you ever want to meet. She's got a kind and limitless spirit when it comes to what she will do for people. And like I said, she would have never done this to him. She's done nothing but love that child as his and take care of that child as if it were her own child. And Barbara was very good to her friends. She was very good to her staff around her. And I just think that this is a shame. It is a dirty, dirty shame. And Dan Gaffney should be, you know what? He just needs to disappear. He needs to fade somewhere into the black hole of which he came out of.
I guess
I
you can
agree.
tell how she feels about him, huh?
I agree.
Wow. Well, I'm certainly hoping that someone kind of steps in, but more importantly, we also have to talk about, and you may know a little more as well, Chef Shelley, and that is the fact that Alzheimer's is very big in the Black community.
Very good.
I wasn't aware of that, and so I think you have 5.2 million people in the country that have Alzheimer's. But hopefully, I thought by now they would have found something to allow you to have your moments of lucidity, more of those moments where you can talk and remember. Because I heard Dan say something on one of the interviews that she has been, lucid enough to have called him Dan, and then at another time she called him Gary or something after one of her brothers. But the time that she calls him Dan, I would have been really nervous about how much she saw,
Absolutely.
comprehended, and could understand.
And him being the caregiver and Alex being a caregiver so to speak, air quotes.
She's caregiving to him,
Right.
not to be.
Absolutely.
Right.
And there are certain aspects of that disease that nutritionally impact your lucidity.
Right.
My mother, when she was starting to get to the place where she had moments a little more, I recognized certain foods triggered it. Too much gluten made her very foggy. Very, very
Wheat,
foggy.
yeah.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I am certain he knows what those things are, and it breaks my heart to think that he would utilize those
things to keep her
To
in
keep
that
her,
in
yes.
that cloud.
Absolutely.
Well, also with Alzheimer's, you know, when you help them remember, showing them pictures,
Yes,
talking to
yes.
them, you know, exercises,
You don't bring new
puzzles.
people into their world.
Right. So that, I'm sure that exacerbated the issue.
Absolutely.
You know, bringing somebody new and when she wasn't lucid.
Wow.
And they need
So-
routine.
Absolutely.
The routine is definitely a help for them because over and over again, those same people, those same circumstances kind of help too.
Right.
But I'm sure, like you say, they're
Well-
not doing any of that.
Well, one thing we can say for certain, and that is that Barbara Smith has a good friend in Chef Shelley.
Absolutely.
So she's definitely
A
putting
true
it out
friend.
there. Absolutely. But Shelley, we appreciate your time. And Shelley has, I tell you, this company called the Chubby Biscuit.
I like that
the
name.
and they, if you look at it, I mean, they're scrumptious looking. And so she's been offered a couple of times to bring it down here to Buc-ee's.
Uh-oh.
So you might
please
be
do.
seeing Chef Shelley down
Do
here in
it.
Texas.
I love
But we've got to get off the air. I think there's another team coming in behind us. But Chef Shelley, we appreciate your call. Please continue to look out for Barbara Smith, our lifestyle maven, and let her know that she does have people out here in the world who cares about her. We just can't have any impact from where we sit. But do what you can to help her, okay? Shelley?
I'm here.
I said, do what you can to continue to help Barbara, even if it's to blast Dan for people to realize who he is and who he's not. But we've got to get ready to go. We appreciate your call and your time.
Yes.
And I'm sorry you're getting that weather back east. I hope you don't get stuck there. Shelley? I guess she's not hearing.
Right.
Is she gone? Chef Shelley.
Okay. Well,
All right.
you know, I'm glad, you know, this topic brings up a lot, you know, your respect, your love, your dedication, true love, true dedication, but also for people to bring light to Alzheimer's
Yeah.
and, you know, how devastating it can be and, you know, how it truly affects people because, you know, your mother had Alzheimer's, my grandmother has Alzheimer's and dementia and,
Now?
you know, yes, now, you know, it's terrible. I mean, she's actually pulled a knife on my mother not knowing who she was.
Wow. That's why I
And,
said you need
you know,
specific help. For
Right.
that.
You need around the clock care. You really do.
And she has, BSmith has the money to afford that.
Right.
Why he's bringing in a white woman that's his lover to pretend that she's a caregiver.
Because
she's a caregiver to him.
He just needs her alive so he can continue with the money. He doesn't need her to have a quality life. He just needs her to keep breathing.
That's sad that we're
Very,
there.
very sad.
We want to thank everybody who tuned in. You know, everyone who was commenting and watching. Thank you guys so much. You can continue the conversation on our Facebook page. You can also, for those who weren't able to, you know, catch us from the very beginning, you can always catch this episode and our past episodes or our past shows on our website at www.allaboutyoushow.info. That's all about you, the letter U, show.info.
Again, we'd like to thank our chef, Shelley, for coming in and giving us this personal and up close
Absolutely.
situation as it relates to Barbara Smith. And like I said, she doesn't have any family here, so we are part of her family.
Right.
And I do hope that Chef Shelley continues to put it out there.
Right, and we will also be posting some of the YouTube clippings
Okay.
about the issue, the situation, what we're
I
talking
will
about.
also
today.
put some of Chef Shelley's stuff. It's hard to say. If I had a drink, that'd be real difficult to say. Chef Shelley, we're going to put her information on our Facebook page.
Absolutely.
You know, she has a fabulous restaurant, and like I said, she does beautiful work if you were to see her flyer. But anyway, we are grateful to her, and we hope that she doesn't get caught up in a storm back east because we know what that can turn into.
Absolutely.
But until next time, I think we have to get off the air. But
Yes.
next time we will
See you.
our next show is going to be on, in the end, it's going to be on Bless Your Heart.
Bless your heart. Yes.
And because February is also Heart Month. So we had to squeeze that in. We had to get the heart topic in because it was hot. Next Thursday wouldn't mean anything. But until then, guys, we'll see you next time on the radio.
All right.
Views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the Bridge of Light Radio and its staff.